this thing is still, I mean, it's actually, it's just, there's the rotation with it is really impressive, Damon. So, you know, I know a lot of times Jonathan will ask 1 to 5, you know, how do I feel rotation wise? This thing is about a 2, but it is gaining a lot of strength, maybe up to a 3, just rotation wise in the wall cloud itself. But if that, you know, those little areas come together, like you see in the middle of my shot right now, man, I'm afraid that we're going to see a tornado out of this.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right there, Nick. Again, Nick, looking at this right here, this lowering down across southern Oklahoma, and this storm, as we mentioned, I mean, it's in a very unstable environment. The amount of shear that we have in the atmosphere is incredibly high, so all the dynamics are certainly there for this storm to continue to increase and produce a tornado, and so that's what we're watching right now. Not on the ground yet, but that we're here to make sure that you have as much of a lead time for this storm to make sure that you need to do everything that you need to do should this storm continue to get stronger and stronger. So if you're in Woodford, Glenn, Springer, Turner Falls, right here, even as far north as Sulphur, Davis, and southern Murray County, and going out towards Doherty, Crusher, and Gene Autry, look, this is a storm that absolutely needs to be watched, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So we're going to watch this right here. I want to go up the road because this is not the only storm that we're monitoring right now. We have a lot of storms that have actually gone up across southern Oklahoma. And so as Jonathan pulls on out here, you can see storms are pretty much just lining up all right along I-35 from Wynnewood up to Wayne, Maysville. This severe thunderstorm warning, here's Chris Lee, there's Shane Helton. Storm Command is going to be in here as well. And so as a matter of fact, Storm Command is going to be looking at this cell that's going to be making its way out towards Elmore City. So let's go out to Michael Armstrong. Michael, storms have rapidly gone up across southern Oklahoma. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Just have really impressive looking structure to them early on in their life cycles, and so that does always give you a little bit of a pause. It gives you some cause for concern about storms when they look this mature this early on. And again, they really are just now kind of getting going, and they're going to be moving into an environment that continues to be favorable for low-level rotation. Will they produce tornadoes? Will all the storms produce tornadoes? We don't know yet, but we're going to be watching them very close. Damon?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So, okay, thank you very much, Michael. Yeah, currently out near Ratliff City. So, Michael is going to be right here watching this storm moving to the east. So, lots of storms ongoing across southern Oklahoma, and they all have at least the dynamics there for a tornado threat. As a matter of fact, tornado watch remains in effect now for southern Oklahoma. This until 9 o'clock. Lots of storms. Hail cores, you can count them there. They're all over the place. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. Lindsay, as you go northeast of Lindsay as well. So all the black that you see on the radar will be the hail cores. And the risk is certainly there for some pretty large hail out of this. So we're going to watch these storms continue to move to the east. Chris Lee is going to be in Pauls Valley. Shane Helton is going to be southwest of Purdy. And then Derek Klein's going to be in Davis right now. Wynnewood, Joy, Washita, all these storms moving to the east. So the storms have already gone up, and literally right when these storms come up to I-35, it's almost as if they just know exactly where the best, it's almost like I-35 is going to be the dividing ground from where you have the extreme dynamics for this storm to rapidly increase. West of I-35, you have some pretty good dynamics there, but once you go east of I-35, it really goes up. So I'm really concerned that once these storms move here, that we're going to see them really begin to rotate pretty significantly. So putting a storm track with this cell right here is going to be making its way into Paola at 418. That's going to be for the hail cores out of this, a little bit larger than $half with a ping pong ball size for sure. Pauls Valley 424. We go into Hart at 449. Fitzhugh at 501. Ada at 502. That's going to be for this portion of the storm, although you're going to get some rain that's going to come in well before that. The rotation is certainly there with these cells as well. You can see at least lots of areas of spin. Hail cores popping up clearly on radar here. Not very large. If you were watching our coverage last night, that was some large hail. Elk City knows all about it. And tennis balls, baseballs, talked to Nick Smith. Nick Smith had new windshield, new sunroof, and Chris Lee had to get a new windshield. So we definitely had the large hail there. The hail is going to be there for sure. As a matter of fact, as we look at what's coming into Oklahoma City right now, Piedmont Sundance Airport by Surrey Hills neighborhood, coming out of Canadian County and coming into western and northwestern Oklahoma County, we're going to have some hail that's going to line up right along this. It's not going to be very large. but it's certainly going to be there. The rain that we had earlier this afternoon across Oklahoma County really helped us out today. That allowed us to stabilize the atmosphere just a bit, but what it also was able to do was it was able to push the favorable winds for tornadoes much farther down in southern Oklahoma. So not a tornado threat, but we are looking at a hail risk with this that's currently making its way into northwestern Oklahoma County. So we're going to watch this right now. Some small hail certainly is possible. We had one storm that came through here earlier that had a lot of golf ball size and quarter size hail. This is going to have a lot of nickel size hail. So right along the Northwest Expressway from Piedmont, Sundance Airport, Surrey Hills, Yukon, hail core. You can see it all lining up right over this, coming towards Deer Creek High School as well. This is moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So looking downstream from Oak Tree, Mitch Park, Chisholm Creek, Gaillardia, Quail Springs, Lake Hefner. You can see the hail now coming in right over Sundance Airport. So this is going to be a nickel-sized hailstorm now moving into Oklahoma City, moving quickly to the east. You can see lightning strikes are increasing as well. But from Santa Fe High School to Chisholm Creek to Britton, the Village, Nichols Hills, here's Lake Hefner. This is moving in quickly, and so we're going to get a lot of nickel-sized hail out of this. It's going to be the second hailstorm that's going to make its way across Oklahoma City here. The first one developed right over Lake Hefner, moved up to the northeast earlier. So that hail core extends all the way down just east of Yukon, very close to Yukon High School, north of the Xerox plant, just west of Overholser, as you can see right here with our high-resolution mapping. So thunderstorm making its way across Oklahoma City. You can always tell exactly where the most intense part of the storm is going to be by where we have most of the lightning centered, and that's going to be right there. Jonathan, very close to your house. By the way, Jonathan, give us an update with what you see. You know Piedmont very well.
Yeah, I know Piedmont really well, especially when my wife sends me a text and says, hey, are we going to have hail at the house? And I was like, yep, I hope you parked the Jeep on inside, honey. Yeah, so there's a small hail core, and so this is going to be right at the bend of the Kilpatrick Turnpike, right there at County Line Road and Memorial. And so that's where the strongest hail core is there, 150th, County Line, and just to the east of Sundance Airport. And so that hail core right there, even though it doesn't feel like a severe weather day, we're overcast with drizzle. There's some really cold air aloft, and so these storms don't have to get that tall to produce some decent sized hail. So we have little hail cores coming right down the turnpike. So I know there's an insurance company there. Paycom is right there on the Kilpatrick or the Memorial there near Rockwell. So anybody who lives in that area, that's Gaillardia, yeah, you're going to have potentially, I would imagine, peas and dimes, not quite up to about 1 inch in diameter, but that's something that could happen with the storm as it moves to the east. Now, one thing I'm always going to be looking for, do we have a risk, a tornado risk at all with these? Let me tell you, the winds right now with these storms are coming out of the northeast, not really conducive for any tornadoes. So that is really good for Deer Creek, for Surrey Hills, for Gaillardia, for the Village, down towards Penn Square Mall. Not too worried about that. And you're really not going to see much either because of the low-grade cloud cover. But there's definitely intensification with that cell there into the northwest part of OKC and southwest Edmond. So we're watching that real closely there, Damon. Still concerned, though, once you get into southern Oklahoma, these storms that are going up, boy, they're going into environment which is conducive for tornado risk. I've watched this storm that Shane is looking at and Chris Lee is looking at. Once it reaches Pauls Valley, we're really going to have to watch it closely for it to spin up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it does, and if it does, you know that we're going to have all eyes on it, absolutely, from Paola to Pauls Valley to Wynnewood. Lots of areas of rotation. We see it there from Shane, Storm Command, Chris Lee, Derek Klein down across southern Oklahoma, Nick Smith as well. So putting a storm track with this to the east goes into Wynnewood at 4:51, and we go into Fitzhugh at 5:40. So all these communities right here, be prepared for a tornado warning to be issued. Not that one is currently in effect, but just knowing the dynamics that we have in place with this storm making its way to the east. So we're going to keep a close eye on this one. Let's go back up into Oklahoma City. We're going to bounce back and forth with these two storms because there's a lot of small hail that's coming in out of this. And so if you're just now tuning in, if you're in Oklahoma County and you're saying, oh, this hail, there's a lot of it, a lot of nickel-sized hail. That's what you need to know. Just west of Gaillardia, west of the Greens, west of Quail Springs Mall. Here's Lake Hefner. So all the black right here is going to be nickel-size hail that is currently moving in. So on the left-hand side of your television screen, that's down in southern Oklahoma of a wall cloud, and we're watching that right now as well, of a storm that may be trying to produce a tornado. Not there yet, but Nick Smith is on it. So this storm moving into the metro, again, a lot of small hail, really concentrated, especially where you see a lot of the lightning strikes. So from Sundance Airport, as you go just west of Gaillardia, west of Quail Springs, here's Santa Fe High School. Here's Lake Hefner, Hefner Parkway. This storm rapidly moving to the east here fairly quickly. Our radar sweep goes by once about every 60 seconds, so 1 minute, and you can see how fast that moved to the east in just that 1 minute. So fast-moving storms, they won't last long, but a lot of hail from Council as you go right down MacArthur. Here's going to be Gaillardia, and just going to be just north of Rockwell as well, making its way to the east. So once again, the risk continues for this storm to produce a lot of small hail, and that's going to be mainly a hail threat that we're going to watch across Oklahoma City, and it's going to be a lot of small hail too. Again, as we just mentioned, a lot of nickel and dime size hail coming in with that storm right now. Down across southern Oklahoma, things are getting a little bit more active, a little bit better organized for these storms to begin to increase, and in an environment that is certainly going to allow them to increase as well. So these storms from Springer, as you go towards Daugherty, this is what Nick is currently on rotation. You can see it right here, very close to Milo. And so that right there is what that's going to be the area of rotation. On the left-hand side, you see it coming in from Nick. Let's go out to Nick right now. Nick, give us an update on your storm.
Yeah, Damon, we've made our way a little bit further to the east now, and we're just following this wall cloud. What I'm noticing is that it is becoming a lot more organized. Earlier, it was pretty ragged, but it was still turning really hard. Oh, we might have a developing tornado. Hold on just 1 second. Keep going. Looks like we got a little funnel. It's not quite to the ground, but it is developing on the front edge of it. Keep on going.
Yeah, Nick, we're looking.
I don't see anything on the ground yet, Damon, but it looks like it kind of blew out. But I mean, this thing is really, Damon. This is turning. This is a really well-defined wall cloud that is. There's so much motion that is, from right to left at this point in time. That from my vision, where I'm seeing it, but the wall cloud itself is pretty big, and I mean the whole thing itself is just moving. Let me pan back over with 360 cam so you can see this. But that whole thing, for people at home that aren't seeing this, if you're in the path of this, don't go out and look at this. Like check out these pictures, check out what it's doing, because I mean you can see it right here. The motion in it. You don't need it. You need to be in your state. You don't need to be.
Yeah, Nick, we're watching, and Nick giving some great advice here. So look, we're here to make sure that you have the first alert with this storm, and so this is a well-defined lowering coming in. This can be down across southern Oklahoma, but we have a lot of technology looking at this storm right here, and so that area of rotation is going to be exactly where Jonathan has circled it there in blue. So we're looking into southern Oklahoma, but here's Sulphur, Davis, Turner Falls. This storm is becoming much more organized, and as it continues to get closer and closer to I-35, the ability for this storm to get even stronger is absolutely going to be there. So that is what we're watching. We're going to bounce back and forth between this storm and southern Oklahoma. We'll go back to it in just a second. Let's go back up, just get an update real quick across Oklahoma City with the hail cell, this hailstorm that's currently coming in. It's a lot of small hail, a lot of nickel-sized hail. We're picking it up clearly on our radar with the white. So from Rockwell to MacArthur to Portland, down to Bethany, Wiley Post. This is when our radar starts to pick up on this white, like you see right there, that is clearly going to be some hail now coming right over Lake Hefner. It's a lot of dime, it's a lot of nickel-sized hail, but that's currently making its way down the Northwest Expressway. So there's Rockwell. Western side of Lake Hefner advancing to the east. Mercy Hospital, the Greens, John Marshall High School, a lot of small hail coming in. Gaillardia is right over Gaillardia. Quail Springs Mall coming in as well. So again, the hail core within this. Not very large, but it is large enough to at least let you know that you can hear it. And again, you're going to get a lot of dimes, a lot of nickel-size hail out of this. We're going to stay below quarters with this. The atmosphere is just a little bit more stable across Oklahoma County, but still, certainly this is going to come in here pretty quickly, even extending down towards Bethany and down to the outlet mall. You can see how fast it is moving. It is surging quickly to the east, coming into Edmond, and eventually towards Frontier City, down towards the capital, downtown Oklahoma City. You're going to be on the southern fringe of this. Most of that hail is going to fall from Mitch Park to the village, right down the turnpike, and as it quickly moves to the east. So this is going to be a hail threat. Again, a lot of dime-sized hail, a lot of nickel-sized hail. With a bulk of it, it's going to fall pretty much right over central Oklahoma County. Putting a storm track to the east, all these communities we're looking at, again, small hail, but some noisy hail. So comes into Lake Hefner at 4:09 right about now. We go into Mitch Park right about now. The village in about 3 minutes. Heritage Hall 4:13. Chisholm Creek 4:13. Santa Fe High School down to Britton, the community of Britton at 4:14. Edmond 4:15. And then we go down to Memorial High School at 4:17. Frontier City 4:22, and then Arcadia at 4:28. So getting reports now of pea-size hail coming in with this, so not surprised at all. There's going to be a lot of it, and so it's not going to put a new roof on your house. But certainly, anytime you get some chunks of ice falling out of the sky, it can at least be a little noisy. And so that's what we're looking at with this. Not much of a tornado threat. So again, this could be a lot of small hail, but our radar is picking up on it. Our technology that we have here at KOCO 5 is able to pick up on it clearly, where you see the white and the black. And so when you see that popping up, that's going to be a tight concentration of just a lot of small hail. And so that's what's coming in right now. So here's going to be the zoo, Frontier City, Edmond, downtown Oklahoma City. This is mainly going to be a northern Oklahoma County small hailer that's moving in right now. And some of it extends even as you go just south of Lakeview and south of Guthrie. So this surging to the east. Let's go back down to these storms because this is where we had the tornado watch. And now when you see severe thunderstorm warnings inside of a tornado watch, certainly they need to be watched closely. And so, as we said, as these storms get closer to I-35, the shear in the atmosphere is going to ramp up in quite pretty quickly. And so that's why as these storms get closer, we begin to see these appendages that begin to show this as a developing tornadic storm. Jonathan is highlighting. There's one near Antioch. That's where Shane Helton is. One near Katy. That's where Storm Command is going to be located. One by Springer. That's where Nick Smith is going to be located. And we also have Derek Klein currently south of Davis coming into Turner Falls as well. So we have all the technology you need on this. There's Chrisley and Pauls Valley. We have all the technology that you need on this storm to make sure that you are very well aware of what is coming in your direction. That's what we do here at KOCO 5. We're here to make sure that these storms never surprise you. And so that's why we're watching this one, especially near Antioch. That's going to be just west of Pauls Valley. Our radar now picking up a low-level lock on this. When you see that red spinning ring, that is going to be, ooh, yeah, look at that. That is concerning. We got Chrisley, we've got Shane. I want to get them lined up on the phone. Make sure that we get their streams up here soon because that's going to be, when you see that red and that green coming together, that is certainly very concerning. So once again, Chrisley on this. We also have Shane Helton on this as well, and their streams are coming in as well. If we can get a 3-box control room, I want to make sure that we have their pictures up at all times with this right here. So tracking this area of circulation, Pauls Valley 427. Stratford 459, Hart 503, Vanoss at 509. That's going to be for this storm that, again, is showing a well-defined couplet there, velocity couplet, just east of Antioch. There's Chrisley and Pauls Valley. There's going to be Shane Helton up in Elmore City looking into these storms right now. Let's go out to Chrisley right now. Hey, Chrisley, in the last radar scan, saw a pretty well-defined couplet there. Give us an update with what you're seeing.
Yeah, we've been watching that area to the east of I-35. To the west of I-35. We're in Pauls Valley now, so we're not actually seeing that area. But we're looking to see if there's any kind of lowering and have not been able to see it at this point. But that storm is strengthening. And it's kind of like you said, as it approaches I-35, that's kind of a boundary of a little better dynamics over here. So we're very closely watching as that storm approaches Pauls Valley to see how it changes as it gets closer. So we'll be watching it, Damon.
You will. So, and again, Chris, you've been chasing a long time. So, Chris got a brand new windshield put on early this morning. If you're watching his coverage last night it was all about hail. Today, it's all about tornadoes across southern Oklahoma. So that's why we are here, to make sure that you are aware. So that's what we're watching right here, east of Antioch. So Shane Helton's looking at this as well from Elmore City. You can see their streams there on the left-hand side. Let's go back down into southern Oklahoma, south of Davis. I want to get an update from Nick Smith on this Springer cell that we have here, because this cell has a pretty well-defined lowering. We see Nick's picture there on the left-hand side. Nick, you likely have one of the strongest storms in the state right now. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we are just to the northwest right now of Springer, and this part of the storm is actually going to come really, really close to the town of Springer. So definitely, people need to be watching this and making sure they're watching to know what's going on. Continue to see, a lot of rotation in the wall cloud itself, but we're starting to see more of the little funnels here and there, and man, it is pulling in so much moisture from just from the east. It's almost developing just like where it's pulling all the inflow in, but it's pulling a lot more moisture that way. So this thing is strengthening. So definitely, we're going to stay with it. We'll let you know if we see anything, but this storm is continuing to just strengthen.
Jonathan will take it over from here for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. Yeah, we're watching that storm real closely there. And again, the environment that storm is moving through has a lot of low-level shear, meaning southeast surface winds, which are very conducive for low-level rotation. Now, this storm might have to go through a little bit of a cycle. There's a storm track. It's warned right now until 4:30. So Falls Creek Assembly, this will pass just the south of Turner Falls. Davis, this will miss you. It might just clip the south side of Sulphur, but this will eventually go into the Arbuckle area, which is the Chickasha National Recreation Area. That area, I've camped there and fished on Lake of the Arbuckles there. And so gonna have to watch that real closely. So that's kind of storm number one that Nick Smith is on. A little bit further to the north, got to watch the storm again that's coming into, there's two of them. There's one near Wynnewood, little tiny supercell, and then there's one to the north. Shane Helton, we got your GPS location. You're east of Elmore City. We're looking at your live stream. How's that storm looking for rotation?
Oh, I'm not seeing a whole lot of rotation yet, but I am seeing a lot of motion, and it is just absolutely crazy. There's a big old long line of motion here where it's just, the storm is just really building up a lot of, I got to move out of the way here. Anyways, it's building up a lot of scud clouds and a lot of under clouds that are just kind of jagged on the bottom. You know, there's a lot of those scary looking clouds that everybody, you think that's just a major deal, but it's not really yet. But we've got some really good motion. It's really looking neat. It's got a lot of inflow, and it's building up pretty good. So we're just kind of watching it real close. It hasn't done anything yet, but we're watching it real close. So if it does anything, we'll be right here underneath it first. Back to you, Jonathan.
All right, Shane, we'll turn it over to Damon here.
Yeah, absolutely. What we're noticing now with these storms as they continue to make their way into central Oklahoma is that the language in these warnings is getting a little bit more significant. So, and you can see here these cells are beginning to get a little bit more organized as well with those inflow notches. So all of these warnings are now, there's a three-step process that you get to a tornado warning. You have a severe thunderstorm warning, then you have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag, pretty much just says watching for a developing tornado. And then you get your tornado warning. So we've now stepped them all up to now a 2 out of a three-step process here. So with that tornado tag, so there's Nick looking right into this cell that's moving right over Turner Falls. That's going to be his picture there on the left-hand side of your television screen there. So storm is still showing signs of rotation as Pauls Valley tornado warning now coming in. All right, so here you go. First tornado warning. Here you go. Let's go out to Chris Lee right now. Chris Lee, tornado warning is now issued. This is going to be for this cell. Chris Lee is on it. There's Shane, and there it is right there. That is going to be exactly where the tornado is going to be located. This is your very first tornado warning of the afternoon. This is going to include Pauls Valley. Pauls Valley, your warning is about to go off. Or your siren's about to go off. Let's go back out to Shane if we can. Shane's going to be looking, he's pretty close into this. Shane, tornado warning just issued. We're looking just north of you. Give us an update with what you're seeing.
Right now, we're not seeing the area where the rotation is at. There's a lot of trees, of course, between me and this storm right now, but let me get right here on top of the hill. But I will say this, this thing is really got all kinds of motion, and for a moment you'll think it's rotation, and then it really falls apart. So it's just kind of. I'm looking off to the northeast there, towards the Pauls Valley area. There's some areas of lowering, but it's just not rotating like like what we'd be looking for.
Well, what we see on radar is that this thing is really ramping up. So Shane, keep a close eye on that. We appreciate that report coming in. But this is exactly. Oh, it's hailing hard here too. So we're gonna bounce back and forth here. So again, when we look at our radar couplet, you can see that red and that green coming together right here. So this is a tornado warning coming into Pauls Valley. This is going to be our very first tornado warning of the afternoon. And so really watching this, if you're in Pauls Valley, you're going into your tornado shelter immediately. Right now, that circulation is going to be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, over 10 miles southwest of you. But Shane's looking right into the heart of this. Chris Lee's looking into the heart of this as well, and our rotation tracker has really ramped up just in the last couple scans. You can see it right here where that brown is going to be located. So this tornado warning moving to the east. If you're watching in Oklahoma City, it's a lot of small hail, nickel-sized hail, but it's certainly loud here on the roof of the station right now. So a lot of small hail, but this is a tornado warning within this. Making its way to the east. We're going to get Chris Lee on in just a second. I want to get an update from Chris Lee because the rotation, not only with this storm is increasing, but also watching the rotation coming in from the storm that Nick Smith is currently on as well. So we're dealing now with, as we mentioned, these storms right when they got up towards I-35, that the dynamics were going to rapidly increase, and that is absolutely happening right now with this storm. So that's where the rotation is, just north of Brady, southwest of Pauls Valley. There's Storm Command moving right into the storm as well. So Storm Command, we'll get an update from him. We'll get an update from Chris Lee, and we'll continue to keep in close contact and get an update from Shane Helton as well. So we have this tornado warning surrounded from every direction that you need here. And so, again, if you're going to be in Pauls Valley or down by Wynnewood, you're going to be going into the innermost room of your house with this storm as it continues to move to the east. Again, if you're in Oklahoma County right now, a lot of small hail coming in with this cell, but that's making its way across Oklahoma City. Let's go back out to Michael Armstrong. Michael, rotation continues to increase with this storm. Give us an update with what you're seeing.
We're in the core of that storm.
Okay, we'll get Michael back on in just a second there. Again, Michael's going to be in the core of that storm. You can imagine, though, with all that rain coming in, that's going to really mess some things up just a little bit here with the technology. But, Eric, let me know as soon as you get him back on here. So Chris Lee's in Pauls Valley. Area of rotation, there it is right here. That's going to be just about 1, 2, 3 miles north of Brady, moving to the east right over I-35. So, again, tornado warning. This is set to expire at 5 o'clock. We're staying on with this. You know that's what we do here. So this is going to be a tornado warning that is going to be for Pauls Valley, Wynnewood, and making its way to the east. It's going to cross right over I-35 very soon. Those in the path, you can see there, a lot of rain wrapped up within this as well. So Michael's going to come out. There's going to be a little bit of a clear slot, and you can see exactly where that area of rotation is going to be right when he comes out. So it's going to be right in front of him. So as soon as we get him back on the phone, want to have to make sure we talk to him here because, again, this is certainly a storm that absolutely is going to be carrying a tornado risk even as we go east of I-35. Let's go back out to Michael. Michael, give us an update.
We're in Wynnewood right now. You're right. I'm zooming in on the base here. There could be a tornado right on top of I-35, very close to it. I mean, the rotation is right on top of I-35. We had to get off. There's a very pronounced lowering right there with this. You have to be in your tornado shelter now in Pauls Valley right now.
Great advice there. If you're from Pauls Valley down to Wynnewood, you're going to be going into your tornado shelter with this one. Even if you're going to be up around the Joy area as well. Tornado warning also coming in for Nick Smith's storm that we have. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth here. So once again, you heard Michael just mention you're going into your tornado shelter right now. They very well could be right over I-35. Let's go down to Nick. Nick, go.
Keep going. Yeah, Damon, we are just to the east of Springer, 1 mile to the south, 1 mile to the, and 2 miles to the east. And we got a tornado. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We got a tornado that has developed, and it is condensed to the ground.
Yeah, we see it there, Nick. So bouncing back and forth with the cell phone service, but again, this is going to be coming in from Nick, and so that tornado, you can see it right there. So using the power of his 360 cam, so he's able to drive, and he's going to rotate that camera around a bit here. But that is a tornado. Let me know once again when Nick gets back up on the phone lines here. So. Again, this could be, there it is right there. There it is right there. It's going to be on the far right-hand side of your television screen coming down. Nick, you're back on. Nick, give us an update.
Yeah, we've got a tornado. We are just, sorry, we're trying to navigate.
Holy cow. This is Shane.
We've got a tornado just as it went across I-35. And this thing ramped up, and you have a tornado off the ground right now, Damon. And people that are in the area, if you live on northwest of Gene Autry, I would be definitely in your tornado shelter right now. This thing continues, and we've seen multi-vortex.
Can you guys hear me?
And let me zoom in on this, and you can see the damage that is going on right now on the ground. It's picking up trees and a lot of dust and dirt right there, Damon.
Yeah, we see it. Yeah, we definitely see that.
I'll zoom back out so you can see, but we have it. And Damon, I'm going to tell you real quick, as it went across I-35, this thing just started churning, and I'd say, earlier I said 2 out of 5. It went to a 4 out of 5 real quick. So we knew that this thing was about to produce something. It's getting a little bit bigger right now, and it's actually hitting. It's condensing more towards the ground, and so we're gonna stay with this thing. We're gonna get a little bit further to the east right now, Damon, so we can stay with it and then turn back to the north. So, man, again, it's getting larger, Damon.
Yeah, that tornado is getting larger. That tornado is getting large. So this coming in from Nick Smith. Wow, that is a large tornado. You see how fast that thing just ramped up? Holy cow. That is a big tornado. Again, let's do a 2-box. We got to keep everyone aware of where this tornado is. And so this could be near Springer, but this coming in from Nick Smith, and that tornado is ramping up fast. That is a fast-moving, developing tornado. It's already on the ground, not developing. It's already on the ground. But look at that. That thing is getting larger and larger and larger. That thing is violent. That is a violent tornado currently near Springer. And again, this coming in from Nick Smith. We'll do a 2-box here. We'll get it up in just a second. But that right there, that thing has gotten real large. Hey, Nick, back to you we go. Do you see any homes in the path?
I cannot right now, but I know that if you live on the, I'm going to say the north, if you live south of Daughtry and north, if you live on the south side of Daughtry, definitely you need to be in your tornado shelter. This thing is just continues to, it's continuing to get bigger, Damon. And I'm telling you, with the cloud heights being, that wall cloud is so low, I'm afraid this thing is going to get just huge. It just continues to grow. And with the motion we were seeing earlier in the wall cloud, this thing is going to get really big, and it's lofting a lot of trees right now. I can see trees. Let me zoom in for you so you can see. But it is huge. Trees, and it is grinding everything on the ground right now. And you can still, as I zoom out, so you can see the fullness of the wall cloud and everything, Damon. Look at how the motion, just the wall cloud, how it's just everything is just spinning around it.
Yeah, that is an extremely large, violent tornado. And so again, looking downstream, so we're gonna keep this up. But if you know anyone in Daugherty, Crusher, Drake and Nebo, they're in their tornado shelter. They're going into their tornado shelter immediately. That right there is exactly where the tornado is going to be located. This is going to be just south of Turner Falls, just south of Falls Creek Assembly, moving to the east. But look at the size. That is by far the most violent tornado that we have seen here in Oklahoma in a very long time here, with the width that large. That picture on the left-hand side of your television screen, that is coming in from Nick Smith, KOCO 5 storm chaser Nick Smith. He is looking right into this storm as it's continuing to make its way closer and closer to Daugherty here. So this is going to be a part of the state where there's going to be a lot of rural land, but that is someone's land. And so there will be some structures that are going to be in there. Nick, we're going to keep your shot up. So try to keep that with your 360 cam, try to keep that tornado there in the middle there so we can see it. But that is a violent tornado that continues to just move quickly to the east. We told you I-35 was going to be the zone to watch, and that thing spun up, and that spun up fast. So that right there is a tornado warning. We're working a lot of storms right now. So we're going to keep Nick's picture up. However, we also need to go up and get an update on the tornado warning that we have north up and towards Pauls Valley right now. So it's going to be making its way in towards Pauls Valley area. We have Chris Lee, we have Shane Helton, and we have Storm Command. This is going to be an area of rotation. This too is another tornado warning that we have, and there's a lot of rotation happening right now right over Pauls Valley. That's moving to the east. And so let's get an update from Storm Command. Storm Command, give us an update, Michael.
Right, Damon, we are embedded solidly in rain right now. If there is a tornado, you cannot see it from my location. We are about 1 mile northeast of Wynnewood. We are moving north toward the circulation to the south.
Okay, we'll get Michael back up in just a second. On the left-hand side of your television screen, that is going to be the tornado that's going to be down near Springer. Let's go back over to Nick Smith. Nick, give us an update on this violent tornado that we see in front of us.
Yeah, Damon. It looks like it's actually turning a little bit more to the right. It was moving more. It's turning more to the east right now, Damon. And man, we're getting an incredible view. I mean, it is just wow. I mean, just the motion, the power of that is just unbelievable. It doesn't look as big. It looks like it's weakened a little bit since it was earlier. And it actually, yeah, it looks like it's weakening a bit and kind of going through a cycle, but. It's a multi-vortex right now. It's got multiple little vortices that are spinning around that circulation. It looks like it's weakening at this point, but judging by the way that the wall cloud itself is actually, wall cloud looks like it's broadening out right now, Damon. So this thing might actually come off the ground for a minute. No, it's still going. If this thing comes off the ground, I'm afraid that it's going to cycle and it's going to get even bigger. So right now we're sitting here just to the south of it on Highway 53, looking back probably about 4 miles to our north, and this thing just continues. No,
big tornado. I mean, you can just see that thing there just spinning. And so, again, this coming in from Nick Smith. He's going to be down in southern Oklahoma. That tornado has been on the ground now for a solid 5 minutes, and that's going to do a considerable amount of damage should it hit any structures. We know how this part of the state is. You have a lot of farmland that's currently out there, so we hope that while that is someone's land, that this can stay away from the structures, but that is still a violent tornado. You can see it's got that white cloud, so the contrast up against it. But I mean, that right there, that is huge. That is a big tornado. And Nick Smith right now just using all the technology that there is out there right now, driving ahead of the storm, using his 360 cam. We're going to have a few trees that are going to be going through from time to time, but that's exactly where that tornado is going to be. So, Darty, you're in your tornado shelter. Cannot hit the message hard enough, Darty. You have to be in your tornado shelter with this as it continues to make its way through Darty. There is a community of Crusher. There's going to be Drake. There's Nebo. So this is going to stay south of Davis. However, this is still very close to a lot of these towns. And so let's see here. We'll get an update from Nick Smith. Let's go back out to Nick Smith's picture if we can. Want to continue to keep a good contact with that tornado. You can see it there in the left-hand side of your television screen. A lot of trees, but you can see it. You can see it there, and that's where it is on radar, just in between Darty and Crusher. This is still a violent storm, a considerable tornado, absolutely on the ground. You can see it there on the right-hand side of your television screen. Again, that's coming in from, or on the left-hand side of your television screen, coming in from Nick Smith. So Nick's going to reposition there. He's going to center up that shot, and there it is right there. Nick, that is a violent tornado. You can see just all that debris that is getting kicked up. Look, Nick, I know that you're in an area that's very hilly, a lot of trees, but do you see any structures anywhere nearby?
I have not, Damon, and actually, we were looking for it. It turned really hard to the right, when it strengthened, it went a little bit more to the east. Now, it might be kind of roping out, but it is still on the ground as we see this right now, and it looks like it's weakening, Damon. This is a great thing. It looks like it's weakening at this point in time, which is, man, that is just a beautiful sight to see that thing going away. I have not seen if there's any other, but it looks like the wall cloud is developing a little bit more over on the right side as this thing cycles out and ropes out. I mean, it's almost gone, but it is still there, and It's close to being gone, Damon.
Okay, well, Nick,
we're going to stick with this thing because I mean, this thing could cycle back up at any minute. So we're gonna stick with it. We're gonna get up here and we're gonna go back to the north and stay just on its track.
Yeah, absolutely there, Nick. And so, Nick, you said the best thing is that it's a beautiful sight to see this thing roping out. However, very well it could be going through a cycle. We have another funnel coming in from field meteorologist Michael Armstrong. Michael, out to you we go. Give us an update. Okay, we'll get Michael back on in just a moment here. Let me know when he's available to talk. But there's going to be storm command, and so our rotation tracker, you can see it right now, is starting to pick up some at least an area where we start to see along this. This is where you see that red and that green. This is where you're likely going to see at least that area of rotation beginning to pick up. And so it's all along the line of this, although it certainly does pick up a little bit of a hot spot there just from Pauls Valley down to Wynnewood. So moving to the east, we go into Roth at 5:05, Fitzhugh at 5:11, Ada at 5:23. This too, another tornado warning. You're good in Pauls Valley. If you're in Pauls Valley right now, you're okay. Wynnewood, you are not. You're still going to be in the path. And so, Wynnewood, you're in the innermost room of your house. Tornado shelter with this storm. You saw how fast that storm ramped up that Nick Smith had. And so, this very well needs to be watched, too. You can see just in the last radar scan how our rotation tracker ramped up exactly where Storm Command currently is located. So let's see here if we can, we'll get Michael back on in just a moment here. Again, he's going to be down just northeast of Wynnewood. He's going to be very close to Joy. He's very close to Hart, the community of Hart, making his way. So let's go back out to Michael. Michael, it looks like you're right in a hot spot with a rotation tracker. Give us an update.
Damon, we have rotation to our north and to our a strong river of flow going from north to south right now. We have a lot of leaves blowing off the trees. This storm is very, very intense, and I can't visually see a tornado right at this particular second. We need to keep going east, Kyle. Damon, look at the trees in my shot. They are blowing tremendously right now. This thing has got a strong circulation, and what has happened is two storms have merged together. And I'm afraid that this thing may put out something similar we saw just with Nick's storm as well.
And Michael, I think you're right, because if Nick's storm, the one down in Springer, if that was able to produce a big tornado, there's absolutely no reason to believe that these cannot. And you can see with our rotation tracker, it's definitely ramping up in spots from where Shane is, from where Storm Command's located, and then even as we go up to the north. So when the red and the green comes together, you can see it right here. That's where you got to watch that area of spin. And so Shane, we'll see if we can get Shane on in just a second, because he's going to be looking right into this as well. And quite a bit of heavy rain in this too. So again, where they are, a lot of heavy rain. And that storm continues to rotate. Shane, out to you we go. Definitely a very volatile afternoon. Give us an update, Shane, with what you're seeing.
We're good. Yeah, we're getting winds that are coming out of the north. It's probably the rear flank downdraft. What it does is it's wrapping around the storm, but it's blowing the rain pretty hard. It's making visibility extremely hard. I know the rotation is just right in front of me. On the west side of Wynnewood, we did see a large tornado. It was heading straight towards Wynnewood, the Wynnewood area. And then it went behind the trees. We believe it dissipated before it actually hit Wynnewood. So we don't think anything happened in Wynnewood. And then while we were going through Wynnewood, they turned on the storm siren, but the circulation had already passed most of the town, at least the circulation that we were following. So we're trying to punch through this heavy rain right here and get up here where we can see the circulation again. And we're going to be real close. We are real close to it right now, but it won't be long and we'll have a good visual on it again. Back to you, Damon.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Great job there chasing Shane Helton. Stay safe. Again, I know you're in an area where you're in a lot of rain, and you go into this part of Oklahoma where we get these hills and the trees, and so certainly the field of view becomes a little bit more difficult. So, but again, we've got the best team out there tracking these storms with Storm Command, Shane, Chris Lee, Derek, Nick Smith, all across southern Oklahoma, Buck King as well, out across Oklahoma City. If you're watching in the metro right now, if you're just now getting home, tuning on, turning on the TV, trying to figure out what's going on, small line of hail with this moving to the east. don't have to worry about this producing a tornado whatsoever. The hot spot across the state today is by far down across southern Oklahoma. We'll get that video back up again and show you what Nick Smith had with that huge tornado. And we mentioned earlier that this was going to be a storm in an area where we were likely going to see a pretty significant tornado, and absolutely that came together. So what we're watching right here, still finding that area of rotation from Crusher to Nebo, just south of Drake, southeast of Doherty, moving up to the northeast. This thing is very well not done. This is not done, I believe, with that tornado threat. So we'll go back out to Nick Smith. I do want to go back out to Nick and get an update with him on this storm, because that is the same storm that dropped that large tornado not that long ago. On the left-hand side of your television screen, you see that's a picture coming in from Nick, going to be down in a cell-restricted area. Let's go back out to Nick. Nick, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we are just trying to get a little bit further to the east, and then we're going to on 53, and then we're going to blast up to the north on Highway 177 and get right back on the storm. But from what we've seen, there's a lot of trees through here, but we have seen that it does not look like there's a tornado on the ground right now. It looks like that it is lifted, and we are just trying to get back off to the east of it and then back up to the north so we can give you exactly what's going on from right by the storm. Damon, I know that tornado, we were just kind of going back and looking at the photos and the video of it, and the size of that tornado, it intensified from a small tornado to a really violent large tornado really quick within the matter of probably 2 minutes. And it really blew us away how strong that thing got so fast. Back to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely there, Nick. And so Mother Nature will surprise you, but she's going to win out every time. And so with this storm right here, it appears that at least for the time being, the tornado threat has decreased substantially with this, but it's in a cycle phase right now. So the tornado threat is not done. It's just going through a phase, as we can see sometimes, where the circulation comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes. So Nick is still in the perfect spot for this. And so again, Nick has many, many years of chasing experience, and so he'll let us know. So we're going to continue to watch that. Let's go back up to the north, get an update on what we are currently seeing for Pauls Valley and Wynnewood. Again, Pauls Valley and Wynnewood. So this Storm Command Shane Helton is still finding that red and that green up against each other. You can see right here. So this is going to be Route 177. Storm Command's on a county road. Shane Helton's coming down State Highway here east of Wynnewood. Still finding some areas of rotation, not nearly as strong, Jonathan, as what we had just a couple radar scans, but Jonathan, this atmosphere is absolutely supportive of producing tornadoes east of I-35.
It is, Damon, and that's what we were worried about all morning long. We've been waiting all day for it to happen, and it did. So what I'm showing you right now is our rotation tracker. That kind of cleans up the velocity image, makes it really easy for you to see. You don't have to be a meteorologist to go, okay, greens and reds, which way is that all going? That area just kind of highlights where the rotation is with the storm east of Pauls Valley. We have Chris Lee, Storm Command, Shane Helton. They're right there, okay? That's the northern storm. Now, that storm itself, it might be fighting the instability that's down to the south. And honestly, I have concerns about the storm that Nick Smith is on. I think it's going through a cycling phase. Nick is right there on Highway 177. You can see his GPS coordinate. I think on radar, it looks stronger now than it did when it produced that large tornado. That area of rotation is just to the north of Nick here, near the location of Nebo. And so I would not be surprised here, again, as Nick comes north a little bit on 177, and he's kind of in the trees here a little bit. I've been through this area a lot. I take this area to go down to the Blue River to go trout fishing all the time. So there's a lot of trees. But so his video is going to pop up, and he might see something there with this video. But I'm concerned that this southern storm that had a history of producing a tornado out near Springer, I'm concerned that on radar, the trend is up on the velocity, okay? So when you're looking at the storm, you see a little lull in the reflectivity here, but let me tell you, this storm is rotating really hard. This is where the wall cloud is gonna be. That's where the tornado would be. If you have anybody like Mill Creek, get ready. This thing could drop another tornado really quick. Again, it's moving into an environment where the low-level winds are very conducive for tornado genesis. So I think this storm is actually ramping up, and it's a storm definitely to watch of those two tornado-warned storms, Damon.
Yeah, it really is. And so, and just to add a little bit more, there's also another tornado warning down by Medill in extreme southern Oklahoma. So we now have 3 tornado warnings all going up here. So just a heads up, anyone, if you know anyone in Medill, make sure that you give them a heads up and say, look, there's a tornado warning for your storm as well. Putting a quick storm track to the east on that. All these communities need to be going into their tornado shelter immediately. So I said it before and we'll say it again. I mean, we were really concerned about east of I-35, southern Oklahoma. West of I-35, things are improving for you, but really the risk is exactly where these storms are. And look where Nick is. As a matter of fact, let's get Nick back on the phone because we've seen an uptick in rotation right on top of Nick. He's got the 360 cam, so he might just have to turn that thing just right up into the sky. Nick, you're right on top of the newest rotation couplet on our radar. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we're just coming in on the backside of where the rotation is, like where that wall cloud is, and we're trying to get a good view of it from behind it, and we're not seeing anything yet. But yeah, we're under the mezzo right now, just looking for it. We see that there's strong, and I mean a lot of people are diving off the road right now, so I'm wondering if there is a tornado off to our northwest, and it looks like there might be. Hold on, just 1 second, Damon. In here, it looks like there might be a. You're gonna have to give me just a minute, Damon. We'll get through these trees, and I can tell you. But this is what's that? No. Keep on going. All right. So just to our east right now, Damon. There is. That's the wall cloud. That's the wall cloud itself. It has not produced again, but it is trying. I mean, it is. We're in the RFD right now, so we've got some 60, 70 mile an hour winds right now. So, Damon, this is not producing a tornado. It is not producing. I'm going to say it again. It is not producing a tornado right now. But I would say in the next probably minute or 2 minutes, it could produce another. I mean, it could at any point in time. It is back to where it's churning really, really hard. It's getting lower and lower to the ground at this point, the wall cloud right through here. And we're just waiting for one little appendage to come down and for that to tighten up. And if it does, we're going to have another good-sized tornado on our hands, Damon.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. Again, this coming in from Nick Smith down by Gene Autry on the same storm that produced that large tornado just moments ago. And now this storm going through a cycle phase. We mentioned before it's not done yet producing a tornado threat and very well could be ramping up. You heard Nick just mention it's not producing a tornado right now. 30, 45 seconds from now, though, that very well could be a different story. But you see what's happening here. You see that red and that green right up against each other. So that 360 cam and that technology that Nick Smith has right now is so important on days like this where he can continue driving and just turn that camera over to the right. And so that's what we're looking at. That is a smooth shot right here. And where you see that red and that green right up against each other, that's where you're watching that rotation. And again, not on the ground yet, but as fast as the last tornado developed, this one very well could do the exact same thing once again. So that area of rotation continues to move to the east. Mill Creek, you're in the path of this, and you're still in your tornado shelter, innermost room of your house. As you can see here, this tornado warning now extended until 5:15, and inside of this red polygon. So Troy, Mill Creek, east of Nebo, you're okay, but just a few miles east of Nebo and southeast of Drake, that's where the rotation couplet is going to be the strongest. What you see on the left-hand side of your television screen is that right there. So that continues to make its way to the east, northeast. So tornado threat continues. We're gonna stay in close contact with Nick. I want to go back up to where Michael, Shane, and Chris Lee are currently located and get an update on that tornado threat because that warning headed towards Fitzhugh and Roth. And so let's go out to Storm Command. Michael Armstrong, we're seeing on our rotation tracker, rotation picking up right on top of you. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon.
Is being moving multiple directions, and this storm seems to be very intense, moving over
very intense as it's moving over toward Roth, and I'm concerned about the area in Roth. We're getting ready to make a left-hand turn. We're going to go east over toward Roth in about 1 more mile, but it's blinding rain. It's very, very difficult to drive in, and I'll tell you what, there's a lot of trees over here. You may not see the tornado coming if you live out ahead of this thing. If you're in Roth, you got to go to your tornado shelter right now. And I would say Ada probably needs to go ahead and at least start preparing to possibly do that as well. It's a more broad circulation than what the one that's down south of Mill Creek. The one near Mill Creek that's been producing that tornado is so much tighter, but this one could spin up at any moment.
It absolutely could spin up any moment, just like that last tornado did. And so, Michael, be safe out there. Again, Michael's going to be right in the heart of this storm. Still, at least, has a tornado warning on it. So, again, this is where Storm Command located, where the red and the green come together. You can see at least that this area of rotation remains now moving east of Route 177 between Hart and down towards Roth, north of Sulphur, moving to the east with that cell. Still very concerned about this. I mean, this area of rotation has still ramped up. And if you're in Mill Creek, I'm going into my tornado shelter immediately, innermost room of my house, for this cell coming into Mill Creek, because right now it is 450, comes in 7 minutes. And look at that. Look at that velocity coupled. This is what this is the same storm that we had earlier that dropped that large tornado near right along I-35 moments ago. Let's go back out to Nick Smith as he's available, because this storm is this thing is rotating, and it's rotating hard. I mean, that right there absolutely warrants a tornado threat. Let's go out to Nick. Hey, Nick, give us an update with what you're seeing.
Nick, coming to you.
Yeah, Damon. We're actually coming in from the east to Mill Creek, and sorry, I need to use our little windshield wiper because, man, it is muddy on this road and nasty. So we've had a lot of rain here. I don't see any hail on the ground, so that's a good thing. That's one silver lining. That's great. After everything that has happened like yesterday, we're not seeing hail, but we are seeing still a lot of rotation in it, and it's coming right at Mill Creek. So if I was in Mill Creek personally, my wife is in Mill Creek, we would definitely be in our tornado shelter or tornado safe spot in the house, and or any shelter that you have. We would be in it right now and making sure that we're safe. Thank you.
Yeah, great advice there coming in from Nick Smith. Again, if you know anyone in Mill Creek, you're in the innermost room of your house with this, or you're going into your tornado shelter with the rotation, especially that couple that we currently see picking up on radar headed into Mill Creek. This is going to be down in southern Oklahoma. There's Nick. You can see him on the radar. And so Mill Creek, again, you're going into your tornado shelter immediately. This can be south of Sulphur, south of Davis. If you're in northern Oklahoma, if you're in western Oklahoma, your risk for any type of tornadoes is practically nil for today. Step outside, you can kind of feel that cooler air, that rain-cooled air. However, it's still very unstable down across southern Oklahoma with this storm right here as it continues to spin to the northeast. On the left-hand side of your television screen, you can see exactly what Nick is looking at. He's looking right into this storm, not on the ground, according to him. However, give it a couple seconds, and this thing could drop a tornado rapidly, just like we saw. Go back out to Nick. Let's go back out to Nick. Nick, give us an update.
Yeah, Damon, I'm going to actually spin the 360 cam around, so bear with me just for a second, because definitely got an area that I've been kind of watching over here, and the trees here, I mean, there's a lot of trees out here, Damon, but I can't go. I saw like a second ago, and it looked like.
We'll get Nick back on. Again, technology down here, you try holding a cell phone call, a cell call down in southern Oklahoma, you know you're going to go through some breaks here and there. So we're going to keep a close eye on it. New severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for this, getting an update right now. This can be for 70-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail with that as well. That's moving up to the northeast. So that is going to be for Cole, Johnston, Pontotoc County. Again, that's going to make its way. Same storm as well that we're watching. So we do have a lot of storms out there on the radar. All the severe storms are in southern Oklahoma. As you can see, let's go ahead and just pull on out, show a big picture right now, reset our coverage. It's almost 5 o'clock for those of you just now getting home from work, trying to figure out what is going on. We've had lots of storms across Oklahoma City. These are not severe. We had some hail, some small hail, and you can see our radar right now lining up now east of Moore, going into Denver, Stella, up to Wellston here. So hail cores here, lots of small hail with that, a lot of nickel-size hail. Hail core here, but all the significant storms have practically been down in southern Oklahoma, as you can see right here. So tornado warning 1, tornado warning 2, tornado warning 3, and even severe thunderstorm warnings attached with these as well, moving to the east. If you're in Katy, if you're in Wynnewood, if you're anywhere west of I-35, your tornado threat has rapidly come down. That's the all clear for you. If you're east of I-35, still watching it, as these storms are still very mature, very healthy storms right now, ongoing from west of Fitzhugh, down by Mill Creek, and then as you go down towards Tishmingo here. So, as a matter of fact, let's go back out the storm command. I want to go back out to Michael Armstrong if we can. Michael, still seeing at least that area of rotation, still in a tornado warning. Michael, give us an update with what you're seeing.
Right, Damon. Yeah, we're still we're trying to get back out of it, ahead of it as best we can. These storms are moving fast. They have a lot of rotation with them, and they're in a very favorable environment to produce additional tornadoes. So we have to take history for a lesson today. The history, at least in this environment, has been for at least one large tornado. And I know that this storm has produced a tornado back to the west of Pauls Valley as well, back in Garvin County. So this storm continues to be quite intense. The problem is once we get on the Chickasaw Turnpike, we'll be able to jump back out ahead of it. We're just behind the storm right now, and it's very, very difficult because all we can see is just blinding rain.
A lot of rain coming in as well, yeah. So getting a lot of reports, and we'll be coming to Abigail and Jess in just a little bit here over at the anchor desk. And so Michael's currently down by Roth. A lot of rain coming in, and so tornado warning remains in effect for this storm, this until 5 o'clock. Chris Lee, Storm Command, Shane Helton, all on these storms right now, making its way to the east. So still finding an area of rotation that is east of Hart, moving to the east, goes into Roth at 456, Fitzhugh at 502. We go down towards Stonewall at 531, and then Kiowa at 641. That's going to be with an eastward motion. And even as these storms move into eastern and southeastern Oklahoma, the potential for them to even produce an even stronger tornado definitely goes up quite a bit. So this is definitely in an area of the state that when it comes to at least a tornado threat, my goodness, I mean, it is there for, just as we saw earlier, that strong tornado, long track tornado, that risk carries as well its way all the way down practically towards Antlers and farther to the east. Rotation tracker is still going to show some moderate rotation along this in that eastern part of this tornado warning downstream. Fitzhugh, Ada. As you go into Pontotoc County here, this storm continues to move to the east. Some hail, not a lot of large hail. That was last night. Last night was the hail night, tennis balls, you name it. Tonight, it's this afternoon, it's a tornado risk. Putting a storm track up to the northeast with this cell, we go into Pontotoc, the town of Pontotoc, at 526, and we go into East Jesse at 546. These communities right here. Just a heads up, this storm dropped a huge tornado, and it was on the ground for a while, so still very concerned about that. Let's go out to Shane Helton. Shane Helton, you're going to be up on the same storm that we have Chris Lee and Michael Armstrong. There's Shane right there coming into Fitzhugh. Shane, out to you we go. Give us an update.
This storm has some hail in it. It's got looks like nickel-sized hail. It's falling right here in front of me. You might be able to see it in the video. Anyways, we are keeping up with this. One of the areas of the rotation that we've been chasing down, where we did see the tornado earlier, but it just still hasn't produced another one. There's a lot of trees over here and stuff like that, but we're keeping up with it, and we're watching it real closely. Some of it tends to move back and forth, though. What it'll do is it'll be behind us for a minute and then in front of us, and it's like it just doesn't know where it wants to keep the area of rotation that we can see from the ground level down here. I know radar you can see a little bit different, but it's right now we're driving through just about horizontal rain almost. The wind's blowing fairly decent, and it's blowing the rain right across the highway from the north to the south. We're keeping up with it, and we're watching it real closely, and I know we just went through the town of Roth here just a few minutes ago, so we're watching it there. Back to you, Damon.
All right, yeah, stay safe out there, Shane. Again, Shane's still on this tornado warning as it continues to move to the east here. So I want to show you the video of what we had earlier. It's almost 5 o'clock, so if you're just now getting home from work, there's a lot of, noise around on social media about this tornado, and we had KOCO5 storm chaser Nick Smith. He was right in the heart of it. This is not live. This was earlier, but this tornado went from that to much larger than this just in a few seconds. This was live on KOCO5 earlier. Again, this is not live. This was at about 30 minutes ago, but this was live on the KOCO5 airwaves, and just look at the size of that tornado that we had earlier from KOCO5 storm chaser Nick Smith. This was down by Springer, east of I-35, but that just goes to show you what our atmosphere was able to do today. So this will be tornado number 5 of the year here in Oklahoma. So it's been a fairly quiet year, but all that's quickly changing, at least with the threat and the hazards that we have in place for today. So, and again, another view of the tornado. You can see it there in the distance, right there in between the wind farms. These are the wind farms that you have down near Turner Falls and east of I-35, and that right there was just a huge tornado that we had. So that tornadic thunderstorm continues to move to the east, making its way east of Mill Creek. And let's go back over to the radar, and we'll show you exactly what we're dealing with here. So that was a storm that is going to be down to the south. This storm, however, still has rotation, and that tornado polygon, brand new tornado warning, has just been issued for this cell that we have Shane and Storm Command currently on. Just on the other side of things, there is a tornado warning also for Medill. There is a tornado warning for Medill. That's in extreme southern Oklahoma. On the left-hand side of our screen, that is going to be Shane Helton. Let's go back out to Shane. Shane, what are you coming up on?
What we've got here is we've got law enforcement watching the storm is what they've got actually are doing. They're just, it's raining so hard they had to pull over alongside the road and wait for a second. It is still hailing here. It's just smaller hail. It's about dime size. And we've got real heavy rain. And the hail's getting bigger.
Okay. We saw the flashing lights in front of you, so just wanted to make sure that there was not any sort of debris scattered across the highway. Shane, stay safe. And so, again, for those of you that know anyone in Medill, make sure that they are in their tornado shelter, a large tornado, similar to what Nick Smith had moments ago and what we just showed you from Nick Smith. Same situation now happening down in Medill. That's in extreme southern Oklahoma, just north of the Red River. So the tornado risk, as we mentioned, absolutely continues down across southern and southeastern Oklahoma as these storms continue to advance to the east. So there's Nick, tornado warning until 5:45, still finding a pretty well-defined couplet right here, just north of Troy. There's Nick Smith. As a matter of fact, we'll get Nick Smith on in just a second, get an update from him, because that's the same storm that produced that big tornado earlier. All these communities right here, and as we go towards eventually eastern and southeastern Oklahoma, are definitely going to be under the gun for an even more significant tornado threat as we get later into the afternoon. Nick, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we are on State Highway 7 now, just going east. We went through the town of Mill Creek, and good thing is the circulation went south of Mill Creek. So that's a great thing. Right now, we're just going to keep on following this thing to the east. We're kind of getting into some of the rain that's associated with just kind of cutting through the hook. There's a little bit of a hook to the storm, and we're going to go in through that area. And so we're keeping our eye on the wall cloud itself, and if we see anything, we'll let you know. Back to you.
Yeah, we know you absolutely will there, Nick. So just a heads up, an update here at 5:01 on this Wednesday afternoon. Tornado watch has been canceled now for Carter, Garvin, Jefferson, Love, Murray, and Stevens County. It still continues though for Atoka, Bryan, Cole, Hughes, Johnston, Marshall, and Pontotoc County. That until 9 o'clock. As these storms move east, we're able to trim the fat off of this tornado watch that still remains in effect down across southern Oklahoma. That until 9 o'clock. So once again, tornado warning remains in effect for this cell that Nick Smith is on. Jonathan, let's pull on out, show the big picture right now and what we're currently seeing, because tornado warnings, and they're all pretty much lighting up across southern Oklahoma, advancing in the southeastern parts of the state. This is not severe. We got some rain here. Ponca City, Stillwater, east of Guthrie. These storms have some small hail, a lot of nickel-size hail. It's a narrow line, but when it comes in, yeah, it comes in and it's loud. So Chandler, east of Moore, seeing that right now. Shawnee as well. Have a small hail core coming across Pottawatomie County right now. So small hail with that making its way towards Seminole. Let's go down to Michael Armstrong in Storm Command. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Going to drive into a tornado. Damon, pretty strong indications of a tornado just 2 miles to my east, just to the east of Fitzhugh. There is a strong tornado vortex signature and a hook echo. We have the rain core and the hail that Shane was just talking about that is separating us from the tornado. So what we're going to try to do is pop out from the other side of it and get a visual confirmation to see if there truly is a tornado. But I would just tell you, for areas from Stonewall and southeast of Ada, if you live south of Ada, you got to take your tornado precautions.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to, and Michael, we want you to be as safe as you can. So, but when we see this velocity couplet right over Fitzhugh, absolutely needs to be one that you're going into your tornado shelter right now, as you can see here. So tornado potential continues, making its way up the turnpike here from Fitzhugh to Lawrence. So you're in your tornado shelter. You can see that rotation couplet's going to be just east of Fitzhugh. But Michael is going to be in an area where the winds are going to be very strong, as you can see right here. So hail core up to the north, and not a lot of hail out of this today. I mean, there will be hail, nickels, dimes, but we're not in a setup like we had last night where we had tennis balls and baseball. So I just want to make sure everyone is aware of that as it moves to the east. On the left-hand side of your television screen, that's coming in from field meteorologist Michael Armstrong and Storm Command, once again coming right up, and they're right in the heart of where this rotation is. Michael, I see the winds are picking up. Michael, how are things where you are right now?
Because we got to slice through the hook. Well, just extremely heavy rain, and it's blowing sideways. There's actually a lot of traffic, Damon. We have seen a lot of people actually out driving around in these tornado warnings. It's been pretty shocking, but I'll tell you, the indications of a tornado are the strongest they have been, and it's about 2 miles to my southeast. We are starting to get some of the hail with the core of the storm, and this is moving directly towards Stonewall. If you live in Stonewall, please, if you know someone who lives in Stonewall, text them, tell them to get into their tornado shelter right now.
Yeah, great advice there from Michael, because when we look at our rotation tracker, you can see where our rotation is really ramping up just to the east of the highway here. There's Storm Command. Shane is going to be right behind him. And so this is moving due east. So if you know anyone in Stonewall, again, they're going into the tornado shelter. Jonathan, these storms have rapidly gone up. They're increasing as they go east of I-35. Really concerned right now with this cell and this tornado warning near Michael and Shane.
So a couple minutes ago, I was talking about the two storms, and you know, these storms, they cycle. Sometimes they pulse up and they go down. Maybe about 15 minutes ago, I was a little bit concerned about the storm down near Mill Creek and Reagan, and that's when Nick Smith is on. That's still tornado warned, but the trend has come down a little bit on velocity. Now, that might have something to do with the fact that the storm is a little bit further away from the radar, but when you compare the two on radar, definitely Michael is right. The storm that is near Lawrence moving towards Stonewall, this one has the strongest velocity couplet. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to highlight the area very specifically where the tornado would be. It would actually be to the southeast of where Michael's at right now, so I'm going to go ahead and circle it. It's right about there. Distance-wise from Michael's location, that's probably going to be about 3 miles to his southeast. Sadly, he's going to have a hard time seeing it because of the amount of rain that's associated with this storm. And Michael's kind of, you heard him say it, I'm going to have to hook slice. He's going to have to kind of cut through the hook. But you can see the actual hook echo with the storm. The tornado is going to be right up in there. There's the inflow notch coming in here. That's where the storm is sucking in a lot of dry and warm air. The hook coming back around. This is circulation coming this way. So that's where the tornado is going to be. Now, one thing that I'm doing on the side that I'm not showing people on air, I'm using all our tools that we have, and I'm actually looking for a tornado debris signature. So I'm actually looking at the dual pole technology and trying to see if there's any with the beam and the radar, if it can detect any debris that's lofted up into the radar beam. I don't see anything right now that would indicate a tornado debris signature, but boy, this circulation is very strong as it moves towards Union Valley, Stonewall, and eventually off to the east. So Damon's strongest cell right now is a storm that Michael Armstrong is on.
It absolutely is the strongest storm right now. And so this is springtime in Oklahoma, and so we're now, I believe now at 6 tornadoes at least. We're probably going to see more tornadoes today in the state than we've seen so far this year. We haven't had a very active year, but certainly we're going to see many more tornado threats as this line just continues to make its way well east of I-35. Shane, Storm Command, Chris Lee. As a matter of fact, let's go out to Shane Helton if we can. Want to get an update from him because this storm still rapidly rotating as it continues to make its way due east. And so as you look here, all these communities, Stonewall all the way down to Cottonwood, you're going into your tornado shelter pretty soon as the storm moves to the east. Shane Helton, you're in a very dangerous part of the storm. Give us an update on what conditions are like.
Yeah, we're getting quite a bit of ponding on the roadway. And like I said, it is very dangerous part of the storm. There's a lot of heavy rain. There is actually trees, leaves and things like that falling through the air. But I don't know of anything as far as anything that has been damaged by any type of rotation or anything like that. There's a little bit of hail still. We're hitting hail. Law enforcement is still up in front of us running their lights. But I don't know if they're trying to track the storm or if they're actually en route to something. So we're following them and we're trying to get through this storm. And we're going to, as soon as we can turn to the bigger area of the rotation, we're going to be there here hopefully real soon. Hopefully we'll be out of this pretty quickly. But you can see in the camera, it is raining extremely hard right here in this part of the storm.
It absolutely is, Shane. So stay safe. When we look at the last couple of radar scans, I really feel confident that this storm is becoming better organized as it makes its way towards Stonewall. So this is not a storm that is ending. This is a storm that is getting even stronger and stronger, and it is going to be right here. So as we look east, it's staying south of Ada, but Union Valley, Frisco, Stonewall, that right here is where we're likely going to see the strongest part of the storm moving to the east. And so what I feel is what we will likely see in the next radar scan or two is that this thing is going to increase its velocity scan quite a bit. You can see our radar picking up those low-level locks right here. And so just west of Frisco, Stonewall, Union Valley, you are in the path of what will likely be developing what could be significant tornado. We've already seen it before, and there's absolutely nothing that says that this cannot do that either. So you're in your tornado shelter if you're in southern parts of Pontotoc County as this continues to move to the east. Frisco, 519, you have about 10 minutes before this moves in. Stonewall, 525, Tupelo, 535, Centrahoma, 543. We go into Phillips, Parker, right around the 6 o'clock time frame. But that right there, when you start seeing a radar couplet like this, if we get this green a little bit hotter, a little bit of a brighter color out of this, yeah, absolutely watch out. Very concerned about this. We have Michael, we have Shane, we have Chris Lee on this storm right now, and this is so far, by far the most significant storm that we have in the state. Tornado warning continues with this cell making its way to the east. This is going to be just slightly south of Ada. Ada, from a tornado standpoint, you're okay. However, the tornado risk is certainly going to be there as you go towards Union Valley, the town, these towns of Union Valley. There is going to be Frisco, which is going to be just right in the path of this. I mean, that's going to be right down the middle of our cone that we have right now with this cell. So tornado warning once again remains in effect. There is a hail threat, not nearly as large as what we had last night, but still going to be there. We're getting a lot of reports of penny, quarter, $half size hail. You heard that coming in from Shane. Nick has mentioned it as well with his storm. Chris Lee has mentioned it. Buck has mentioned it. So all of our crews continue to be out. And they've been saying, look, yeah, there's absolutely some hail in this, but it's not the tennis balls and baseballs that we had last night. I want to go back out to field meteorologist Michael Armstrong in Storm Command. Michael, this storm continues to get better organized as it's moving to the east. Michael, give us an update.
Yeah, Damon, really concerned still about a tornado. It has a classic hook echo signature there on radar just to my southeast. We are coming up into the south side of Ada, and then we're going to go back down on the highway. Part of the, we do have fire department in front of us here. So, Kyle, we keep going straight. We're going to go here. Just follow this, Kyle. Hold my phone. All right. We're gonna drop back down on the highway that goes back down to Stonewall here, Damon. And this is a very tense situation because it looks like a possible tornado is going to bear down on Stonewall. You really don't have much time left in Stonewall. If you haven't gone to your tornado shelter, you really do need to go now because this circulation is very intense. It has a classic radar signature of a tornado right now. It is just a few miles to my southeast, and we're going to do our best to get down near Stonewall and verify before this tornado gets there. but we may not make it because the rain, as Shane was saying, and the hail are so intense, and we have to punch through the core again to try to get a view of it. We're doing the best we can, but I'll tell you, it is a big challenge out here today.
Yeah, it really is, and especially in this part of the state. So we know that. I do want to send it over briefly to the anchor desk, Jessica Shambach, for an update.
Well, Damon, we've been calling just to see if there are any damage reports from that huge tornado we saw out in the Springer area. I've been in contact with Carter County Sheriff's Office. They tell me there are no damage reports right now other than some downed power lines. I got one report of some power lines that are down, so that's actually great news to hear when you see something like that, of that size in that area. I'm told it's a rural area, but there are still homes out there. But as of right now, no damage reports coming from that tornado in the Springer area. They say they have deputies who are out watching in that area right now. And I want to send it over to Abby real quick, Damon, before we head back to you, because you're hearing a report of an accident.
This was a few minutes ago. Oklahoma Highway Patrol saying it's possible that this is related to the weather. A semi was blown over. It's going to be in Garvin County on I-35. The southbound lane shut down near mile marker 66.5 there in Garvin County. Nobody was hurt. They say, though, that he wasn't carrying anything, so it was quite light and blew over there. Should be cleaned up by now. We're also tracking thousands of power outages. Edmond, a lot of you without power as well, so please make sure you have that KOCO app in case you lose power. We got to have a way to be able to bring you the first alert. Damon, back over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I imagine, with the way that this storm came right on through, there's going to be many weather-related incidents. Jessica, like to hear that as of right now, no damage reports in this part of the state. You can have a lot of land. That land belongs to someone. You just hope that it stays away from structure. So, but still, we're still watching this one closely. Still going to find this is more than likely going to be a rain-wrapped developing tornado just north of Fitztown. Putting a storm track on this, moving to the east. This is coming down on Frisco, and it's coming in fast. So Frisco, if you know anyone in the community of Frisco or Stonewall, they're going into their tornado shelter immediately. Right now, it is 5:15. Frisco, it comes in 2 minutes. We go into Stonewall at 5:21, Central Homa 5:36. We go all the way down to eventually Ward Springs there at 6 o'clock, after 6 o'clock. All these communities listed. This is a storm that is marching to the east. This is an area of the state that we highlighted today with our tornado index with a moderate threat of a tornado. And the tornadoes in this part of the state, as you saw earlier with Nick Smith, they can be strong, they can be long track, and they can certainly do some damage. And so still finding that couplet coming right on up onto, right on up into the community of Frisco, State Highway 3, Stonewall, Coyle, very close to each other. But this radar couplet, it is coming in. It's coming in the Stonewall. It's gonna move right over. You hope what happens, like a lot of these towns are set up, and this part of the state, you go 100 yards outside of town and you get out of structures and you're back over some open land. That's what you want. That's what you hope. That's what you pray for. We're always going to have tornadoes. You just hope that that's the way that they move. So we're gonna watch this one as it continues to move to the east. But Frisco 5:17, Stonewall 5:23, Central Homa 5:42. We go down to Ashland at 6:14. Still finding that couplet. It is still there when you see the red and the green. Red wins away, green wins toward the radar. It's spinning like this right now, and it's going to spin its way right over Frisco and eventually comes right into Stonewall and makes that turn towards into the town of Stonewall, right down State Highway 3. So Nick is north of here. We have Nick. We have Chris. We have Shane. We have field meteorologist Michael Armstrong and Storm Command, and this tornado warning still remains in effect. As a matter of fact, this warning will continue until 5:45. Storm moving pretty quickly to the east right now at a speed of 40 miles per hour. So fast-moving storm with this. Right now we have 2 tornado warnings ongoing on the state. These are going to be east of I-35. So still watching these storms rotating as they continue to make their way down into across southern parts of Pontotoc County, sliding away from Ada. So that's some good news. Nick Smith is going to be on this storm right here. This is actually going to be east of Reagan. This is going to be south of Connorville. Right now, highlighting that area of rotation is going to be southeast of the town of Pontotoc. It is going to be right here, wrapped in rain. So these storms all now quickly marching to the east. Let's go out to Shane Helton. We'll go out to Shane Helton. Shane, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Damon, what we've got here is a law enforcement vehicle, which is Sheriff's Department, and another mechanic's pickup. It looks like they may have hit head on. Now, one thing that did happen for sure is they also hit a power pole that was here, and the power pole is behind the sheriff's office vehicle. You can't see it in the video, but it is laying on the ground. We have all types of emergency vehicles here. The ambulance is here, and it looks like they're out walking around. So I'm praying for their safety, hoping that they're all okay and everything right now. But we definitely need to keep these guys in our prayers while it looks like they had a really bad collision in the bad weather that came through here just moments ago. Back to you, Damon.
Okay, yeah, well, we hope that they're going to be okay there. So, again, obviously that's probably going to be weather-related with this storm. So you can see exactly where Shane Helton is going to be located with his GPS tracker there. So Storm Command right now in the heart of this storm coming back into a tornado warning that goes until 5:45. Let's go out to Michael. Michael, you're in the hail part of the cell. What's the hail like where you are, Michael?
Well, occasionally we are getting some hailstones in here. I can't tell you exactly how big they are, just based on how they're sounding when they hit the truck. We're still trying to move pretty quick to get back over to where we can get a visual confirmation of this. But there is occasional quarter-size hail falling is what I'm going to estimate, just based on how it sounds. Once you've been in enough hail, you kind of know by the sound of how it hits your vehicle, how big it is. That's just the nature of the business. That's what you got to deal with when you're out here. So we are working our way down towards Stonewall. Damon, I will say this. I think the threat of a tornado is not quite as high as what it was earlier. Thankfully, hopefully it will not hit Stonewall with a tornado. The rotation is certainly not nearly as strong as what it was on this storm even about 10 minutes ago.
And that's good. We like to hear that kind of report. And so coming in from Michael Armstrong, he's you heard him mention just moments ago, he's pretty much hook slicing. So coming through this part of the storm, it's moving to the east. So the rotation is going to be just a couple hundred yards or just a 1 or 2 miles right in front of him. Still headed into Stonewall. So Stonewall, Frisco, if you know anyone in this community, they are still going into their tornado shelter away from windows as this storm still continues to have a well-defined radar couplet with it as it moves to the east. Headed towards Stonewall, headed towards the south of the community of Leader, just northwest of the town of Tupelo. You see it on the bottom of your television screen. Our chasers are out across southern Oklahoma from Hickory to Ada, near Ada, Oklahoma City, Pottawatomie County. Let's go ahead and pull on out here. Let's show the big picture, do a reset of our coverage, and show you exactly everything that's happening across the state. So far, all the warnings are here. In Pottawatomie County, Seminole County, we have a thunderstorm. This actually produced some small hail. That's going to be a hail threat across Pottawatomie County, making its way into Seminole. We heard it here in Oklahoma City not that long ago. There was a lot of nickel, a lot of dime-sized hail. So that's a small hail threat, Shawnee and Seminole. I know you're looking out. You can see some of those dark clouds. That storm coming in. It's not severe. There is not a tornado threat with this cell right here that is currently making its way into out of Pottawatomie County, going into northwestern parts of Seminole County. Oklahoma City, we still have a chance for storms. We have just a small line of storms that is currently going to be just west of town and northwest of town. It's not going to be very wide in the sense that it's going to rain for a long time, but it will certainly be there, as you can see, towards Weatherford, Watonga, Fairview. So we still have at least that risk, but the main severe weather threat so far at this hour is going to be well south and east of Oklahoma City. So storms out near Custer City, not severe. These, not severe. Even this is not severe. However, these storms down here, they are severe as they continue to make their way east of Wynnewood. Tornado warning down by east of Medill. That has produced a tornado. This tornado warning number 2, tornado warning number 3. So we have 3 tornado warnings currently lined up down across southern and southeastern Oklahoma. We have Shane, we have Storm Command, Chris Lee. There's Sky 5 out by Turner Falls. And then we have Nick Smith down on this storm as well. Derek Klein's on these storms as well. Buck King is going to be on the storms that are going to be making their way east of Oklahoma City. Those ones are not severe. So the risk still continues with these storms making their way to the east. Tornado threat still continues with these. I do want to send it over to Abigail, just real quick, get an update from the news desk.
All right, so the main thing I'm tracking right now are those power outages. We're seeing thousands of them across the state. Edmond, you have been hit. Looking at OG&E there, and I also know that there's Edmond Electric as well, but almost 2,000 customers in Edmond without power. OG&E tracking about 2,500 there. And then across the state, we're seeing close to 3,000 without power. That's going to be the main thing that we're following here on the news desk. Also, damage reports. When I send it over to Jessica Shambach on the news desk. Jess, I've seen you on the phone trying to get some reports as well. What are you learning?
Yeah, Abby, I've been making some phone calls over here out in the Medill area. We know some of you may have people you know out there near Lake Texoma, Medill just north of Lake Texoma. And I called the fire department because I saw an unconfirmed storm chaser report of some damage out there in the Medill area of some flipped cars, perhaps even damage to buildings. So I wanted to call, see if I can get confirmation on that. I did make contact with the fire department, and they said they were too busy to talk. So it does make you believe that there are some damage reports out there that are coming into them. When they don't have time to talk, that means their phone lines are being flooded with phone calls of people with emergencies. So we're going to continue to check back with them, Damon, after a bit, give them some time, let it pass a bit, and we'll keep you posted. But so far as the tornado out in the Springer area, no damage reports coming from there other than some downed power lines.
Okay, we'll keep an update. We'll keep getting an update with that particular threat there. So again, we like to at least hear no damage, but we know that the process is still unfolding, and so keep in close contact with them. Let's go back out. The field meteorologist Michael Armstrong in Storm Command is coming right into where this area of rotation is currently setting up, coming right into Stonewall. Okay, let's go out to Derek. We'll go out to Derek Klein. Derek Klein is going to be our newest storm chaser here, and he is going to be, here he is right here. Out to Derek, what stream? 17. He's going to be on remote 17. Okay, out to remote 17. That is going to be Derek's stream. Has it right there in the middle. There, you can see it right there. Is Derek available to talk? Okay, we'll go out to Derek. Derek, give us an update right now with what you're seeing.
Hey, Damon, we got a tornado on the ground right now. We are just north of Wapanucka looking towards Bromide, Oklahoma right now, and there's rapid rotation. You can just kind of see the top of it there, but it's multi-vortex for sure. And it's coming over the top of that hill there. You can see it in my stream, just dead center right now. Definitely moving off to the east-northeast, headed right. Again, it's right in the Bromide area, so very, very close to Bromide. It's about 3 miles to my west right now. So again, it's on the ground right now. Looks like it's even getting wider as we speak.
Yeah, we absolutely see that there. This coming in from Derek Klein. And so, Derek, we see that right there. We have a little bit of a hill, a little bit of a taller hill area right in front of him. But that right there is the tornado. And that right there, that thing's getting pretty wide. That is getting really wide coming into Wapanucka here. So this could be in southern Oklahoma. This picture stream coming in from our newest storm chaser, Derek Klein. There it is right here. Tornado continues to get wider and wider. You can see the edges, and this thing is going to be rapidly moving up to the east, moving to the left-hand side of your television screen here. Speeds right now about 40 to 50 miles per hour, but that's a pretty wide tornado that we have right here that's developing, coming in from Derek. And so again, Derek is going to be down in southern Oklahoma, down near the community of Bromide and Wapanucka here. So large tornado continues. We're going to keep this stream up, but I want to show exactly on radar where we are and what we're looking at. It's going to be this right here. Bromide, you're going to have right here. There's Derek's position. He's looking right into the heart of this. And so that area of rotation continues to get wider and wider, more pronounced, with that red and that green coming right up against each other. So Bromide, you're going to be in your storm shelter. Wapanucka, you're going to be in your storm shelter as well. There's going to be Nick. There's going to be Bromide Junction. And so Derek and Nick both on a storm that is now, as you just saw coming in from Derek's stream, likely beginning to produce a fairly wide tornado with this cell right here. It's going to be on the left-hand side of your television screen as it continues to move to the east. And that area of rotation is just about 1 mile south and east of Bromide.